there's a story.
Yeah, we heard the theme song 1,000 times, but the legacy of the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air goes way beyond the catchy tune. We're talking about how the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air did more than just make us laugh. It flipped the narrative on race, class, music, and culture in the 90s, making us rethink what it meant to be black, rich, and navigating two completely different worlds. Let's kick things off with how the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air came to life. From 1919 to 1996, the show wasn't just a hit, it was groundbreaking. The concept came from Benny Medea's real-life story. Benny grew up in East LA and was taken in by a wealthy white family in Beverly Hills. But the creators, including the legendary Quincy Jones, decided to flip the idea. Instead of Will Smith's character being raised by rich white people, he was taken in by wealthy black relatives, which immediately opened the door for how the show to explore both race and class in a unique way. And Quincy Jones wasn't just a name in the credits. His influence was massive. He saw something special in the young rapper Will Smith and built the show around him. The decision to cast Will, a music artist with no acting experience, brought a whole new energy to the sitcom and infused hip-hop culture into mainstream television. Hip-hop wasn't just a backdrop. It became an essential part of the show's DNA, from the soundtrack, to the fashion, to the storylines. Two worlds, one family. Nah, not that one. From the very first episode, the clash of cultures was clear. Will, a street-smart kid from West Philadelphia, arrives in Bel-Air, where everything is polished, perfect, and preppy. His first move? Flipping his blazer inside out. Now that's not just a rebellious fashion choice, it's a statement. Will is trying to tell everyone, I'm not like you, and I'm not going to conform to your rules.
No game. If you think that it is, then maybe you should go home, because you're not welcome here.
A bit of a contradiction, right? Let's dive in. Now this is where the show starts to dig deep into race and class. Will's authenticity, grounded in his working class black identity, clashes head on with the wealthy, refined world of the Banks family. But instead of making it a simple cultural clash, the show gets into a more complex conversation about what it means to be black in America. Will's streetwise swagger contrasts with Uncle Phil and Aunt Viv's version of black excellence. They have learned to navigate the white spaces to achieve success, while Will represents a different kind of survival, one based on staying true to who you are and no matter where you come from. And what makes the show even more interesting is that it never paints Uncle Phil and Aunt Viv as sellouts. It doesn't take sides. Instead, it shows how these two different paths, authenticity versus assimilation, are both valid and necessary in the black experience. The tension between Will and his wealthy relatives reflects a real debate in black communities about what it means to make it in America. The Banks family is the epitome of success in black America. Uncle Phil, a successful lawyer and later on a judge, Aunt Viv, a college professor, have built a life in one of the wealthiest neighborhoods in the world. They have made it, but with success comes a cultural disconnect. One of the most iconic characters of the 90s, Carlton, with his preppy clothes and neurotic personality. Carlton seems like the antithesis of Will. He's the guy Will jokes about, being black on the outside and white in the inside. But Carlton's character is more than just a comedic relief. Through him, the show explores how complex black identity can be. Carlton struggles to define what it means to be black when everyone, including Will, questions his blackness and adds layers to the conversation about race.
Hi. Dad, I need $300.
That's a lot of money, Hillary. What for?
I need a new hat.
Hillary, the eldest Banks child, takes on a different role in the family dynamic. Obsessed with fashion and status, she's a representation of how wealth can make someone disconnected from their roots. And then there's Ashley, the youngest, who's often caught in between her strict parents and her fun-loving cousin Will. Even the family butler, Joffrey, adds to the class conversation, reminding the Banks of their privilege through his sharp British sarcasm.
Experiment I have derived from looking at the remarkable way your ears protrude from your head.
One thing the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air did like no other show was merge fashion with the growing influence of hip-hop culture. Will's brightly patterned shirts, neon-colored caps, and stonewashed denims weren't just wardrobe choices, they were cultural statements. His style wasn't just about being flashy. It represented Afrocentric fashion, reflecting trends set by artists like Queen Latifah and A Tribe Called Quest, and other trailblazers of the late 80s and early 90s. Hip-hop culture was all about pushing boundaries, and the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air brought the rebellious energy right into the homes of millions of viewers. But it didn't stop with Will. The show's influence on 90s fashion extended to real life. People were dressing like Will, copying his look and embracing hip-hop culture as part of the mainstream fashion. Even today, the influence of the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air is alive in modern fashion. You can still find people rocking Bel-Air inspired gear, and let's be honest, Will's style was way ahead of its time. One of the most powerful episodes of the series is Mistaken Identity, where Will and Carlton get pulled over by the police and are wrongly accused of stealing a car. For Carlton, this is a wake-up call. He's always believed that his wealth and status would protect him from the kind of racism he sees happening to others. But in this moment, he realizes that no matter how rich you are, being black means being treated with suspicion. And Uncle Phil's fiery confrontation with the police officers is a powerful reminder that even success doesn't buy protection from racism. It's a conversation that is still relevant today, as it was in the 90s, and the show doesn't shy away from showing the complexities of race and privilege. From day one, Will shakes things up in the Banks household. Remember that episode where he teaches Ashley how to rap? Uncle Phil and Aunt Viv are horrified. They want her to focus on classical music, not hip-hop. And when Will's best friend from Philly, Ice Tray, visits, his laid-back attitude doesn't exactly fit in with the Banks' upper-class life. These moments highlight the divide between Will's working-class roots and the Banks' privileged lifestyle. But Will isn't just causing chaos. He's serving as a reminder of where Uncle Phil and Aunt Viv come from. He helps them stay connected to their roots, showing them that wealth doesn't just erase who you are and where you come from. In a way, Will's presence keeps the family grounded. Now let's talk about Jazz, played by DJ Jazzy Jeff. Is Will's best friend from Philly and one of the most iconic side characters of the show. And of course, we can't talk about Jazz without mentioning the famous running gag, him being tossed out of the Banks mansion by Uncle Phil. Every time Jazz crossed the line, which he often did, he'd be thrown out the front door, flying through the air in the same hilarious shot. It gets me every time. But beyond the humor, Jazz represents something deeper. His streetwise attitude and carefree demeanor clashed with Uncle Phil's refined world of wealth and status. Jazz was a constant reminder of Will's old life, a life that Uncle Phil had worked hard to distance his family from. The contrast between Jazz and the Banks' lifestyle added another layer to the show's exploration of class within black culture. In the episode Deaf Poets Society, Will introduces his classmates to black poetry and rap, bringing a bit of Philly into Bel-Air Academy. This episode celebrates black culture in a space that's usually disconnected from it. Through Will, the show sends a broader message. Black culture isn't just something to include, it's something to celebrate and elevate. Let's not forget about jazz's iconic poetry.
More precious than gold. Let's go get some barbecue and get busy. What kind of line is that? It always works for me.
As the show progresses, we see Will mature. He's no longer just the Joker from Philly. He's learning how to navigate the complexities of Bel-Air while staying true to himself. In one of the most emotional episodes, Will's absent father reappears and abandons him again. We see Will stripped of his usual bravado. It is a powerful moment that touches on issues like broken homes and absent fathers, issues that are still prevalent in many black families till today. In the 90s, shows like Family Matters, A Different World were also breaking barriers for black representation. But the Fresh Prince took a different role. By placing Will in a world of privilege and wealth, it started the conversation about what it means to be successful, black, and still connected to your roots. Shows like Blackish and Insecure continue the conversation today, following the path that the Fresh Prince paved. In the final episode, Will stands in the empty Bel-Air mansion. We see how far he has come. The show wasn't just about a kid from Philly, it was about navigating race and class in America, and learning that no matter how much success or privilege you gain, the color of your skin will always influence how the world sees you. The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air wasn't just a sitcom. It was a show that made us laugh and made us think, and it flipped the narrative of race and class in primetime television. Nothing about the show was shy about what it was, a real African-American show, with real conversations about the black experience, and it did it in a way that wasn't subtle. It ingrained those quality conversations in a comedic style. It is important because I wanted to wrap up with this: the relevancy of the show. There's no show that feels more connected with the times. So if you haven't watched the show, go back and watch the show. You'll see that the problems that the show focused on are still prevalent today, 30 years after. So the next time you hear the theme song, remember, this show did more than just entertain us. It changed the conversation and left us with plenty to laugh about and a lot to reflect on. Thanks for watching, and be sure to hit that subscribe button for more deep dives into your favorite nostalgic TV shows. Wait! One more thing. If you want to revisit Michael Kyle's crazy antics, here's a video just for you.